Welcome to the wonderful Wye Valley, and I'm here, unsurprisingly, to try and catch some barbel. But first I want to show you two rods that I'm really proud of. They're new to the Drennan stable, they carry my name, and I've been designing them for the last year. I think they cover everything a barbel angler could possibly need. There's two models, there's the 1 3/4 and the 2 1/4. Both come with their own carrying case, so your line's protected and you can have your rig set up all the time. Let's have a look first at the 1 3/4. As you would expect with all Drennan rods, very high quality carbon and rings throughout. Now if we start with the butt, it's a full cork handle and there's a screw fitting. You don't want your rod wobbling around, drives me mad. Now the interesting thing here is I've actually shortened up the butt on a traditional rod because you're not going to be casting 100 yards. You don't need to cast to your horizon like a carp angler would, so why have you got a rod like that? This one's been shortened because on the Ouse, the Avon, the Kennet, what this is perfectly designed for, there's a lot of underarm casting and you don't want a big butt getting in the way. So that's why that's been done. This is the action, it's a through action, semi-through action should I say, but it's got a lot of power in reserve. The graphics are subtly hidden underneath, so you don't have to have my name staring up at you all the time. It's really my all-round rod, I'd say, for 75% of my fishing. There's not a barbel in the land I couldn't tame on this. It's got a lot of power there, 15 pound plus barbel. I've been tempted using these type of models and it's never failed yet. Then we move on to the big river barbel rod. This is designed for the Wye, the Severn, the Trent, somewhere where there's a lot of power, a spate river or a tidal river. Also, if you are fishing the Kennet, the Ouse, the Bristol Avon, the Hampshire Avon, I could go on and on and on, in floodwater, then you need something a bit more powerful. This can throw, believe me, this is a little feeder here, but this can throw, if I lean over, huge feeders like that. It's a real specialist tool, perfect for rivers such as the Trent. Again, full cork handle, but this is a little bit longer because I appreciate you've got to sometimes punch it out over the far bank. Screw fitting, last thing you want is a real wobbling around. High quality carbon, high quality rings, and I should say with both of the rods, I don't like little tiny rings, but what I do like is big rings. I like really big rings. I see a lot of barbel rods, they're tiny, certainly on the tip. And as soon as you're playing a barbel and there's a load of debris, it just gets caught up in the tip and you can't crunch it through. What I want is to be able to crunch it through when I'm playing a barbel and sort it out off the reel later. There's a lot of power in this rod. It will go round to a through action, but there's a lot of power in reserve in the butt for throwing across the big baits across the river. So let's go and head off down to the river, and I can try to hopefully prove my point of how good they are when a barbel's attached to the other end. Well, after a bit of a walk, I found myself a lovely crib. I've got streamer weed directly in front of me, and then it falls away into a lovely deep pool. There's got to be barbel here. I've baited the area already. I've made up a mix out of trout pellet powder and I've laced it with Accelerate pellets, and that's all laying in a run between two beds of streamer weed. So hopefully the barbel now are starting to smell it and move upstream. I'm going to target it first with the 1 3/4 Martin Bowler barbel rod. The reason I'm going to do that is I'm going to start at the head of the swimmer. You don't want to cast right the way down and put line across everything. Start with fairly short cast, underarm. The tackle I'm going to use is 12 pound line, and that's all the way through to, there's a couple of float stops up the line. The reason I have them, I can either attach a back lead or they're a weed stop. Then we come through, and this is what I do. I'm not very keen on using swivels. I like to fish my line straight the way through. So it's just between float stops, a little Drennan bead with a link on it. I can just clip on the lead. I'm fishing the 12 pound line straight the way through onto a continental boilie hook, a size 8, and there's a Richworth barbel boilie under there and some paste wrapped around it, and again PVA bag from ESP, just wrapped up with some Accelerate pellets in it. Nice and simple, nothing complicated. Everyone wants to complicate things all the time, but there's no need. If you pick the right swim and get the fish feeding on the right bait, it's fairly simple, I say. Right, now, as you can see, I've been talking about the underarm cast so it doesn't get in the way. Just a nice gentle swing, and I'm just gonna aim that out. There we go. Now that's in the run now. I'm gonna pay off a fair bit of slack. So I've got a big bar of line. Check my clutch, a little bit tight that. There we go. Now put that on the rest. And hopefully, better clip that in, so it'll be a savage bite. And hopefully a barbel will move on it fairly quickly. I've got a lovely white tip on this rod, so I can see bites very easy. Whoa. There we go. Nice bend on the rod. You can see about that semi-through action. There's a lot of power in reserve here. Whoa, look at that. It's just taking those lunges. Lovely arc there. Whoa, there you go. God, I don't want to come up. It was a good fish. Power on this one, it's going to wipe out a canoeist, I reckon. There we go. And I need all 12 feet of this rod to get it over that streamer weed out there. It's now coming upstream, which is always a sign of a good fish. It's just real animal. That's what you get on the River Wye. And I did a lot of my rod testing on this river, because if anything's going to test it to the limit and you're going to find a fault, it's going to be here. Look at that. How could you not want to go barbel fishing? Hey, I ask you. In we go. And believe me, that is a cracking fish for the River Wye. Well, I've just weighed this fish, and believe it or not, it is a Wye double. And they are rare creatures. Oh, come on. Let's show you off just one last time. And that is a rare fish. It's a double figure barbel from the River Wye on the pound and 3/4 rod. So hopefully it's proved its worth. Right, back you go. And let's try the 2 1/4. Put a little bit more bait in, trout pellet powder and the Accelerate pellets. I've switched over now to the 2 1/4 because I'm going to be fishing downstream. The barbel are bound to have backed off a little, so I'm going to be doing overhead cast. I've got a feeder on here which is designed for, and like I said earlier, it can cope with monster feeders, so there's absolutely no problem throwing that across the river. An interesting feature on this rod as well, which I forgot to mention, is it's twin-legged throughout, other than different to the 1 3/4, and that's just single leg. The reason I've chose twin legs here is it's got to do so much more. You're throwing around huge feeders, and I just want that robustness. Right then, another canoe coming down, but I've got the feeder all full up, a little bit of barbel paste. I'm going to flick that out overhead, feather the line, just feel it drop down. It's really important that you feather your line, just so everything lands nice and gentle, not a big smash on the surface, and also ensures your rig is nice and straight and doesn't tangle. Now I'm going to allow out a bit of line here, just so there's a nice boat. Check my clutch, that's nice. There we go. Right then, put my ground bait down and settle down, and hopefully very soon I can show you the power behind the 2 1/4 rod. testing me, heading off downstream. You see again, semi-through action, but this one's got power to spare. And although in this flow at the moment, I don't really need it, put another 4 foot on this river and I'll be really glad I've got it. But you still get a lovely fight, look at that. Woo. Here we go. Just don't be afraid of having a nice tight clutch. You're more likely to lose them if you're slacking off. Guys, going upstream. See, many people would say a 2 1/4 would be too powerful for them. Not these fish. Fight like tigers. So imagine what they would do in a flood. Here we go. Well, it's a nice fish, but it's not massive. Whoa! I'm gonna see if I can hand land this one. There we go. Now you are one angry fish. Oh, now I'm gonna unhook you. Just in the water. Whoa, hold on. Pop this hook out. Show you this one. After that double. And here we go. Another great fish from the Y. Fantastic. What a lovely day. But back you go. And it's time for me to head for home as well. There you go.